Hi hearties, welcome back to Teacup Trail. We are on episode 10 of season 7. This is the season 7 finale episode. The next time we meet up is the prime season 8. It's so exciting. A lot of things happen in this season 7 finale episode. I will be breaking it down into 2 parts. The first one will be up on Sunday, and the second part will be up on Wednesday. It will be worth the wait. We should get started with the first scene.
This blue one looks good.
Lucas,
Sorry to bother you so early.
it's no bother.
I just received word that Frank Branson wants to speak to you.
Frank Branson.
Of Branson Books, the publisher to whom my mother sent your work.
Oh my goodness. Do you think he liked it, or is this rejection?
When a publisher wants to speak with you, it usually only means one thing. And he's waiting for your call. Shall we?
When Elizabeth opened the door, Lucas automatically smiled. He was happy and excited to tell her the great news, but before he mentioned the actual news, he apologized to her for knocking on her door early in the morning, and I thought that was very thoughtful of him. When he told her the great news, she wasn't expecting it. If you remember a while back, she had this conversation with Rosemary, and it was after Lucas gave her first 3 chapters to his mom without Elizabeth's permission. She had that conversation with Rosemary like, I forgive Lucas for doing that, but I still have this fear of going out there and writing again and being out of my comfort zone. So Elizabeth did not expect a book publisher to be interested in her work, and hearing that from Lucas just gave her some boost of confidence that probably, most likely, this time around, it will work out really well for her. And Lucas looked over to his right side, and he saw Elizabeth's jacket and just gently picked it up and asked her if she's ready to go. And besides him being the gentleman and putting her coat on, even though we didn't see it, it was nice of Lucas to be there for her and support her as she takes the call from the book publisher.
Thank you. Hi, Ned. Oh, Fiona. Then it's true what I heard?
My boss decided my job here is done.
Oh.
Well, you literally changed this town.
If it wasn't me, it would have been someone else. Did you want me to place a call?
Please. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Relax. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath.
Hello? Yes, this is Mrs. Elizabeth Thornton. Thank you. Great. Yes. Excuse me, how much?
What Lucas said to Fiona, how she literally changed the town, not only do I agree with that, this shows that Lucas support women in job. Like, there should be an equal opportunity for men and women in job, and that Fiona shouldn't have got fired. Like, she did so great as a telephone operator. Unfortunately her boss let her go, especially with Lucas supporting Elizabeth to have another job to become a published author. That totally support the idea that Lucas support women in pursuing their passion and in job that they want to have in their lives. So I thought that was a very sweet, supportive comment from Lucas to Fiona. And then Lucas gave the number to Fiona, and Lucas seemed sad after he gave the number to Fiona, because they were just talking about Fiona leaving her job. And Elizabeth, she's like, switched gear in her mind, like, oh shoot, like the haul is coming in very soon. I probably have less than a minute to gather myself before I talk to the publisher. And it's so nice Lucas went with her. Like, he stood next to her the whole time of the entire haul. And Elizabeth even like turned her head slightly. I truly believe that she felt his presence with her the whole time. She really wanted to share in her excitement and her emotion and facial expression with Lucas, but she couldn't really like turn her head completely. Lucas was very happy for her, standing behind her and just being there for her and supporting her.
$200?
And that's just for the advance. Once it's published, who knows?
I'm getting paid to write. I can't believe it.
I can, because I've read your work.
Well, I have you to thank for that.
Oh, did I write those chapters?
You encouraged me, and for that I will forever be grateful. This is so exciting.
What's exciting?
Elizabeth has just gotten a book deal.
From a publisher in New York.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. I should get going to school. I wouldn't want to be late.
I'll see you at school in a bit.
Sounds good.
Make a grand entrance. Practice for when you're famous.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
$200 is a lot of money back in those days. Lucas, he's such a humble guy. He's like, I didn't write the book, you did. But Elizabeth was humble too. She thanked him for encouraging her and just being there for her as she writes this book and giving her honest opinion on each chapter and just helping her see her dream come true. Poor Nathan interrupted. If you look closely, after Nathan congratulated her, he looked to Lucas, and Lucas looked back at him, and Elizabeth looked between Nathan and Lucas, and it was just like a three-way staring contest between the three. And I think the look that Nathan gave to Lucas, my guess is that Nathan was jealous that Lucas heard the great news first, that Elizabeth shared the excitement of the news with Lucas first. My question is, does Nathan know that Lucas had been helping Elizabeth with the book? Because if I remember right, I don't recall Elizabeth telling Nathan that Lucas is helping her with her book. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know what you think that look means. I truly believe that Nathan was a bit jealous that Lucas found out first about Elizabeth's book deal. And then it got awkward. So awkward, and Elizabeth just like, I need to leave. Nathan, of course, had to add in like, oh, I will see you later. Like, really, Nathan? Like, you trying to like show off to Lucas that you will have another moment to yourself with Elizabeth later on at school? Like, seriously? Like, kids will be around anyway. And then Lucas like practiced the grand entrance, get ready when you're famous. I think that was like a little bit over the top. I think Lucas was trying to beat out Nathan.
What do you think?
I think that Mrs. Thornton isn't the only talented writer in town.
I couldn't agree more. Allie's got quite the gift. I think it comes from reading so much.
Mrs. Thornton, is it true that you sold a book?
It is.
Does that mean you're not going to be my teacher anymore?
No, I'm not going anywhere. I promise.
Great. I have to go get something. Stay here.
Okay. Elizabeth, I was wondering if you weren't...
This is the aquatic food chain.
Wow. The whole chain.
Big thing that caught me in the scene is Allie asking Elizabeth about selling a book and if Elizabeth is leaving the school to become a full-time writer. And I'm just like, little girl, how do you know? And Elizabeth was surprised too by Allie's questions, and she gave Nathan a look like, you told your niece already? Like, I don't think Allie would have known if Nathan told her. And this made me question, like, does Nathan and Allie tell each other everything? Like, and Allie liked to be nosy about knowing everything that's going on between her uncle and Mr. Thornton. I don't want to be rude to the character Allie, but that was way over the line, and she shouldn't have known that this early on. I think Nathan should have told her if that was the case. Yeah, you don't want to cause drama in Hope Valley, making every student parent fear that, oh, Elizabeth's leaving and a new teacher will come into town. Like, Elizabeth is a very highly respected teacher in Hope Valley, and if she ever leaves the school, like, every parent and every kid will be heartbroken. Yeah, I didn't like that. Other kids and other parents who have overheard, I think Elizabeth wanted to keep it hush for a while too. Nathan tried to ask Elizabeth out, and I was like, dude, why you did not ask her at the house? Because that night, like when he went to Elizabeth's house to apologize, like that was the perfect moment. No one was around. Little Jack was upstairs sleeping. Like, he could have asked her then. And he tried to ask her right now in that school fair. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, Allie interrupted his opportunity to ask Elizabeth out. And I'm just like, here we go again. Interruption, one after another. Like, the writers just keep showing an interruption. And I'm just like getting tired of it.
Speaking of books, you know that publisher who read my work?
Yes?
Well, he is paying me in advance to publish my novel.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Elizabeth! Oh, that is wonderful! So I suppose Lucas is forgiven?
Seems I can't stay angry with him for too long.
You two do have an awful lot in common.
Rosemary, don't start.
Although you and Nathan seem to have patched things up as well, hmm?
What am I gonna do?
What are you going to do?
I don't know.
Well, sooner or later, you're going to have to decide.
I know. I think by not deciding, in a way, I'm protecting myself from letting in either of them.
Elizabeth, we all have our own path. And when the time is right for you to choose, you'll know.
Besides Rosemary being the great friend that she is to Elizabeth, she made a few important statements in this scene to Elizabeth. But more than that, the writers are giving us some hints as to where the love triangle stands. Lucas and Elizabeth have a lot in common, and it's so true. Like, we see Lucas and Elizabeth bond over many things in season 6 and 7. They seem to get along really well. They understand each other in their own unique way, and they seem to enjoy each other's company, whether in a small moment or in a big moment. And then Nathan did fix his friendship with Elizabeth. Like, he did apologize and somewhat revealed to Elizabeth how he felt at her house that night. But then again, Nathan did not tell Elizabeth everything about how he feels. But on the outside, it's like things are good now, but in the inside, Nathan still internally struggling to tell Elizabeth his entire feelings for her. Then Elizabeth, you know, had that moment like, okay, I'm honestly confused. I don't know what to do with these two. She doesn't want to hurt any of them. And she mentioned about if she doesn't pick any of them, like, she doesn't have to open her heart completely. Like, she is in the middle of opening her heart again, but it's not at 100%. Like, she's slowly opening it, and she knows that as she get closer to Nathan and Lucas at the same time, eventually she needs to open up more in order to commit to a relationship with one of these two guys, and she's afraid to go there. She's not ready yet. I really believe she's falling for one more than the other at this point.
I'll be right back. This is a pleasant surprise.
Is it true?
Is what true?
Henry said you're pulling out of the company, that you're going to let it go bankrupt.
It's a little more complicated than that.
Is it true?
Yes.
Lucas, so many people in this town depend on you and Henry for their livelihoods. How could you do this to them?
I had no choice. I've been paying the men out of my own pocket, fending off our vendors. I just can't afford to keep doing it.
Henry didn't mention that.
I'm sure he didn't mention a lot of things. The way Henry ran our company, undercutting the competition, expanding too quickly, that is what got us into this mess. You know, I just can't afford to keep throwing good money after bad. I told him the best thing to do would be to suspend all operation until we can figure this out. He wasn't willing to do that.
Sorry. Really shouldn't have come in here like this. I should have given you the benefit of the doubt.
I can't fault you for caring too much.
Henry's just so proud of this company. All those workers and their families. Must be such a weight on his shoulders. It's no wonder he ended up in the infirmary yesterday.
I hadn't heard. Is he all right?
I hope so. He's up and about.
I wish I could have done more to help him.
Lucas, you did what you could. It's not your fault.
Even though it was about Henry, I really like how intimate the conversation was between Elizabeth and Lucas. In the beginning, Elizabeth already have this like defensive borders walled up against Lucas because she was technically on Henry's side. Lucas didn't want to talk about it out loud in public. You can see that he respectfully pushed Elizabeth to the side to talk about this matter in private. And Lucas was open and honest with Elizabeth throughout the conversation. He told her everything, especially how he used his own money to pay off the workers, and Elizabeth didn't know that. At the same time, that's like a very generous thing to do for Lucas. Like, technically it's illegal, it's not right. Like, Lucas shouldn't have used his own money, but he did because he cares so much for the workers and their families, and that they do deserve to get paid. And Lucas was trying to find a short-term solution while trying to figure out the bigger problem. Then Elizabeth apologized to Lucas. She had a different mindset going into this conversation. Like, she was basically judging Lucas like he is the bad guy in this situation. Lucas, in return, encouraged her that it's okay to care so much for the people that that you love in your life. He didn't like attack her back or give her a harsh comment on how she treated him in this conversation.